It's time for high school football coverage right here on ThreeRiversBroadcasting.com, the new voice of Pittsburgh. The Pigskin Report. We take you around the tri-state area with scores, stats, and interviews right from the gridiron. And now, here are your hosts, Jordan and Alex.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Alex Fidrashevsky. That's Andrew Krzyzewski. Jordan jumped ship on us tonight.
Yeah, I'm not Jordan Yanniga. So Jordan is in basketball season. Point Park University. I got what?
Preseason.
Forward.
I guess she's like a small
she's
forward.
a combo. She does it also. So I'm filling in. I'm not in my usual behind the scenes role and I pop up every once in a while when you want to talk. So I'm live. We're going more studio mode. And
it's okay though.
Yeah. What the heck?
It's okay because you know what? I there's a different dynamic here.
Yeah,
because we can get into
more
the
Pittsburgh
meat.
sports.
Yeah, it's a little
report.
more Pittsburgh sports report than Friday Night Football show. But we're gonna have a good time with it. We've got some scores that we want to run through. But first, I think let's just lead off. There's a major announcement here at Three Rivers Broadcasting.
Announcement?
Yes, there's a major announcement at Three Rivers Broadcasting. Coach Krzyzewski is back in the game.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't out of the game, but
I never really out of the game.
Yeah, right. I did take a different position at McGuffey High School out in Washington, PA. So really excited about it. I'm also going to be bringing along our sports reporter, Tom Bakunis, is my assistant coach. He's helped me a lot with my gym rat business. So we're excited to get going. It's a 3A school, great facilities, really good football program. I was actually out there today. They were playing Beth Center. And we're just excited to get going. I think it's gonna be a fun dynamic working out in Washington County, not too far away from us, really.
No,
it takes me 30 minutes from Carnegie area to get out there. So
we'll be coming out to the game.
7 minutes from the Wild Things Stadium.
Oh, that's not far at all.
Yeah.
No, that's an easy ride. Yeah, that's pretty good. So again, we want to offer our congratulations to you and Coach Tom on your new position down at McGuffey, and go get them.
Yeah, I'm excited. We'll have to have some Three Rivers Broadcasting. I also another little mini announcement. We also have one of our high school students that has helped us in the past, Daria Cheron, who plays a starter for Our Lady of the Sacred Heart. They're in the WPIAL playoffs tomorrow. I believe they play Canevin. I think
they play Canevin tomorrow.
At West Allegheny. So I'm going to be going out tomorrow to cover the game. Should be a good soccer game.
Yeah, it should.
Teams are pretty. Good soccer reputation from both teams.
Once you get into the playoffs, every game's good at that point.
Right.
You should be past the 6-0, or there was that one game there was a boys game that was like 30-something to nothing.
Or the Carlo 30-0.
The Carlo, that's a Pittsburgh sports report conversation.
30-0 against Rio Grande.
Something doesn't smell kosher on that one, but we're not going to go there. They lost 30-0, and something's not right there. I know they only took 11 players to the game and the bus broke down and this and that, but 30?
Yeah, it's 30. I don't know, man. If I saw more 30 to 20 soccer games, I might watch more soccer though. So
yeah, but you might. Yeah, there might be more people paying attention to it. But wish her luck. Wish her all the success.
Yeah, she had a great season. I think she had 9 or 10 goals as a sophomore.
Yeah, bright
future.
Yeah,
so she's helped us at the Riverhounds. Loves soccer. She's Canadian, so I told her she should try to get on the Canadian national
team. Yeah.
So I'm excited to get out there and watch. Probably my first Whippeal girls soccer playoff game. So I'm excited to get out there and give them kids a little bit of coverage tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a first time for everything, right?
So let's kick it off.
Yeah,
tonight. City League semifinal, I believe.
Semifinal tonight. Westinghouse 17, University 0. That was a one-touchdown game when they played in the regular season. 25-19 was the final score. Tonight, Westinghouse asserted its running game. University's passing game was stifled by the rain.
Okay.
For the first half. It was coming down. It was slippery. They tried a couple of different looks. They put Rashawn Murray in at quarterback on the first drive, who's going to the University of Akron as a wide receiver. Then they went to Keon Smalls after that. and he's their regular starting quarterback. I don't know if he was hurt or what, but it was rather bizarre to see, a senior quarterback not starting and then come in after 2 drives.
I thought the other one that was interesting, you told me, I think it was Brashear yesterday. The starting quarterback for Brashear got hurt on the first play of the game.
Yeah, so third quarterback down for Brashear this year. And so they lost Brandon Pizzell, who was their quarterback, the starter. Then Tamir got hurt last week. And then on the first play of the game this week, Daquan Griffin.
Wow.
It was knee and ankle. It looked like they had a big bag of ice around his ankle. So, we hope he recovers in time for state playoffs. Because I think they're going to be in the sub-regional because of the way the City League qualifies. They're the only 5A school, so I think they have to play in the playoffs. So, I mean, possibility they're going to end up having to play Cathedral Prep in the first round. And we wish them all the best of success. But, I mean, playing Cathedral Prep with Tamir and Pizzell is going to be tough enough. Playing them without them and potentially Daquan Griffin, that's an even taller task. But Alderdice got the job done yesterday. Jerry Hazlitt, the grizzled veteran that he is of the City League, smiling after the game about all the different looks that he threw at them, and sitting there going, "Oh, we knew Jaron could run the ball, and we knew that he could throw a little bit." And he took a couple reps in practice each week, and then just we threw him in there, and he owned the game yesterday. And
it's always difficult to play, veteran coaches.
Yeah, He started out with Zarek Jeter as the quarterback, who is the starter, and he's a sophomore. Good player. He could be a college-level quarterback. Went 2 drives with him, and then he went to this kind of wildcat offense for 2 or 3 drives, went back to Jeter for a drive, and then threw in a third running back at that same wildcat position, and he had those Brashear kids running all over the field after him. It was a spirited performance by Brashear. Did the best they could. I mean, Daquan did a fantastic job stepping in for Robinson.
Yeah,
and I mean he rushed for, I think it was like 180 yards. From the quarterback position, and passed for a couple of, maybe almost 100 yards passing too. And then to lose him, who was, I think actually he was the most capable of the 3 kids that played quarterback that I've seen this year. I think he was the most dangerous. To lose him, first play of the game, that just kind of threw everything for a wrench for Coach Moore, and it's tough to bounce back from that. But the City League final set, and Alderdice is back in the final again. Yeah. You get to the end of October, Jerry Hazlitt starts pulling all the rabbits out of the hat, and I talked to him after the game too. He said, listen, we played this very, very difficult schedule outside the city, and I, kind of called in all my chips this year to get, North Allegheny, where I have a relationship, and Steubenville, where I know those guys, and Altoona, and he goes, listen, we took it on the chin in North Allegheny, we took it on the chin in Steubenville, but when you go into, he's like, you go to Harding Stadium, there's 8,000-10,000 people at the game. It gets you ready, and he goes, you're playing against teams that have 20 college football players, so listen, you can't count them out next week.
I agree.
I'm sure he'll have some other wrinkle up his sleeve. Is it a tall order? Yeah, this Westinghouse team is very good. I've been very impressed with them all year. I think Keyshawn Morsill is the best quarterback in the city. I think that they have the best running back in the city. They've certainly got. I think they have the best line. I mean, they're undefeated for a reason. But fantastic matchup going to be next Saturday afternoon at Couple Stadium. We'll be there. Looking forward to it. I think that Westinghouse is the favorite right now until proven otherwise. They're looking at 3 in a row. Defending champions 2 times. And I think, when they get into the playoffs in their classification, they could be tough. I think they're going to be in the double or triple A classification. They could be pretty tough. Yeah. Especially depending on the draw. Like if the way they've seeded, I haven't seen the seedings yet. If they've seeded them against, a District 5 school in their classification, you can go, you could be playing Somerset or Bedford or somebody like that. You can get a win in the first round. Yeah. Even if they play an Erie school, you could be playing one of those double or triple A schools out here. You can get a win. It's not like you're going to play McDowell or Cathedral Prep where you're probably going to be a heavy underdog, which, again, Brashear and if Alderdice, is going to represent in the 6A classification, they'll probably end up in that area. They'll probably have to play McDowell, who's playing very well this year and beat Brashear. I think they beat him by like 3 touchdowns. So, it'd be a tall order in states, but I think Westinghouse can make a run, and Dante Green's got a good program over there. They got, for the size of the school, he's got like 50 kids on the team.
Yeah.
So it'll be a good battle next week. I've enjoyed covering the City League this year. It's my second year in a row doing it, and they're great people down there. I get to know them a little more, and hopefully next year we'll get to know Coach Green and Coach Barry and the guys up at Perry a little bit more. I think we got to know Coach Moore really well this year, and Coach Haslett, just old school Pittsburgh, like you said.
Yep.
When Andy saw the video that Jordan did with him, he's like, man, I love him. He's he's an old school guy, and I loved him. He's great to be around. So it was great. Kind of great run with the City League this year. Looking forward to doing some City League basketball in the winter, and then just moving on with everything else that we've got going here. So should we go through?
Let's get through the scores.
Let's run through some.
Let's get it rolling.
All right. So Burgettstown 12, Union 8. Nice win for Burgettstown there. Let's see where Burgettstown is at right now. They are down there in the Class A. That evens them up at 4-4. Probably not gonna. I don't think they'll make the playoffs because of the way they seed everything. But at 4-4, they've had a nice season. Albert Gallatin, 50-16 over Charleroi. Charleroi struggled for a couple of years now. Albert Gallatin is playing outside the WPIAL, playing an independent schedule, mostly West Virginia and Maryland schools. Armstrong County beat Plum 35-28. East Al 40, Valley 0. Burrell 43, Derry 13, Freedom 34, Mohawk 20. Peters Township beat West Al 30-7. Southside Beaver 36, Seton 9. Not too many surprises here tonight. North Allegheny 65, Hempfield 13. North Allegheny lost to Central and lost to Lebo, but they'll be tough coming to playoffs again. New Brighton 34, Riverside 0. Yock beat Brownsville 49-26. I think that Yock's first win of the year. Let's see here. Is that Yock's first win of the year? Maybe I'm wrong, but I could have swore that they were winless coming into this one. Let's see on the. Let me look for the standings. I'm trying to find them. I can't find Yock. I forget. That was Yock's first win of the year.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah, first win of the year. They beat Brownsville, who remains winless at 0-7. Let's see. What else do we have here going on? Pine Richland 33, Kiski 27. I heard that was a pretty good game. Kiski's had a good year. It's their first winning year in a long time. But Pine, Pine's been up and down. Obviously, there's the big controversy up there with the coaching change, and, you have to get a new coach coming in, figure it all out. They're 5-4 now, and see what kind of noise they can make when they get into the playoffs. What else do we have going through here? Highlands 40, Greensburg, Salem 20, Butler 60, Franklin 8. Not Jordan's Franklin. Franklin up in
just Franklin,
District 10, Franklin, the city of 60-8. Butler stepped outside the WPIAL. They've done pretty well. They've gone and played those Erie schools. Maybe it's a better matchup for them, and they need.
You have to build that program up, and they're doing a good job of it. I think they were down big time numbers wise, and now they're actually. I'm gonna grab this mouse here.
Sorry. I heard that they had like 60 or 70 kids in the
That's
program
great.
now.
And they should. It's a huge school.
Oh, it is.
So
yeah,
you just have to build interest, and the kids will come out and play football.
Yeah, enrollment wise, I think they're like the third largest school in the WPIAL. Yeah, it's the whole county that basically goes there. So Northgate defeated Ulsh 21-19. Let's see, what does that make Ulsh on this season now? I'm trying to just follow this all. Ulsh is 5-3. Northgate's now 3-6, so that's an upset there.
Yeah,
Northgate over Ulsh. South Fayette was up against Upper St. Clair and then lost in overtime, 31-28. So they're struggling a little bit this year down at South Fayette, and that 5A classification is, I think, pretty wide open. I mean, Moon's at the top, undefeated. Penn Trafford's really good too, but after that, you've got like 6 teams that are right around the 500 mark. So it's going to be, it's going to be interesting when they get into the playoffs. Laurel beat Elwood City 54-13. Ambridge all over Quaker Valley 35-12. Penn Hills crushed Shaler 40-3. Beaver Falls over Neshannock 28-23. Clairton shut out Springdale 12-0. I thought that was going to be a pretty close game. They're two of the top teams down in the small schools in the Class A division, but that puts Clairton now to 6-2. After they lost their first 2, they've rolled them out 6 in a row. 2 nice wins over Bishop Canavan and Greensburg Central Catholic in there as well. They'll finish the season with the Jayhawks, who went down again tonight.
Yeah, 49-3 to Greensburg Central Catholic. Greensburg Central Catholic usually has a pretty good program. So
yeah, and they're. Is that in the building?
No,
that's outside. Yeah. I was like, did Paul pull the fire alarm on us?
Right.
Greensburg Central Catholic stepped up. They played. They're trying to step their program up. They played Upper St. Clair their first game.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they're in Class A, played a 5.
Right.
That's pretty impressive. Rochester beat Shenango 31-16. Rochester's had a good year too.
Well, Rochester is one of my favorites to get to Hines, and yeah, they definitely. I'm looking up where they're at right now. They are. Trib's a little tough to figure out. I think they only have they lost to Union. I remember that.
And Cornell, they're 6-2.
Yeah, so yeah, pretty good year for them.
Yeah, that is. That's a pretty good year. They're in second place.
Three more. I think they have Cornell. Let's see. What's this saying here? Okay, they have it doubled up. They lost to Cornell, so they have Northgate to finish the season out.
Yeah, and Cornell's got Sacred Heart next week, so they got Olsh. Excuse me, Olsh. I'm getting used to it.
Yeah.
I'm getting used to it.
Yeah,
Sacred Heart's the New Jersey way of doing this. It's Olsh. I'm getting used to it. North Hills beat Fox Chapel 17-10. Penn Trafford, Jordan, 49-7 over Franklin Regional. McKeesport, I think the win of the day. 42-28 over TJ.
Demanding, or shouldn't say demanding. I should say a very impressive win over TJ.
Yeah, it looked like they traded scores, and McKeesport popped 2 on them in a minute, and then was able to hold them off the rest of the way. McKeesport is for real. I was kind of questioning how they were going to be this year. I think there was a lot of hype around McKeesport. 8-1 going into their last game at Bell Vernon next Friday, which is going to be a doozy.
Yeah.
So that'll be for the division title. McKeesport's only loss is to Canisius from Buffalo. I've said this now a couple weeks now. Canisius is a very good program. They play a regional schedule, and McKeesport stepped up. That's their only loss. Them and undefeated Bell Vernon. That's the game of the week, without question, in the WPIAL. We don't have a Friday night game, so I'm trying to figure out where the trip's going to be. I know that next Friday is Morgantown against Morgantown University, but, man, McKeesport, Bell Vernon sounds really good.
Where's it at?
Bell Vernon.
Ooh, that's a drive, though.
That's a drive. It is. It's a drive. It's down at Bell Vernon. Probably be, my guess, potentially the biggest crowd in Bell Vernon football history.
Maybe. I mean, I think that TJ game this year was
probably just as bad.
And that was a rival game. So, but yeah, I think that's going to be a rocking house. I mean, that should be a sellout, no doubt.
Yeah, no doubt. Indiana 46, Mars 10. Beaver over Montour in overtime. Nice win for Beaver area. They are now 6-2. So they're having a good season there in 4A, and I think the balance of power in 4A still is in the Big 8. You got McKeesport, Bell Vernon, and I would leave TJ kind of lurking around in there as a potential contender. Hampton and Aliquippa are also going to be very, very capable. Woodland Hills defeated Latrobe 26-17. Woodland Hills is 3-6. I think they were hoping for a little better this year. Their quarterback got hurt early in the year, and they dropped a handful of games in a row. They started out with a nice win against Wayne Valley from New Jersey, and then it was, I think, 5 in a row that they dropped when they were without their quarterback. So a little bit of a rough patch for them this year. Hopefully they'll bounce back a little better next year. Deer Lakes beat South Al 27-14. Laurel Highlands 39, Trinity 34. We thought Laurel Highlands could be a contender, and then they stepped up and got blasted by Bell Vernon, McKeesport, and TJ. And I think they've fallen back into the pack in 4A. Norwin,
3-3
win.
They're 6-3 overall, but 3-3 in the conference behind Bell Vernon, McKeesport, and TJ. So
that for me kind of keeps them in that second tier. I think Hampton and Aliquippa are now in there. They're like, those are your
still
top
undefeated.
5. Hampton's undefeated. Yeah, they got, very quiet too. Not a lot. You haven't heard a lot of hype about Hampton. I haven't read it. Even in the major newspapers, I haven't really seen too many articles about Hampton, and they're bulldozing teams. Like I was looking at their score. I got their scores up here now.
Yeah. Maybe this isn't tonight, but as of maybe it is 333 points. Forced 97 allowed.
I mean, that's pretty good.
Crushing people.
And 40 of them came in one game against Shaler.
Yeah, the average score for them is 37-10.
I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yes.
Yeah, they're having a very, very good year. And Aliquippa, of course, they can lay it on teams whenever they want, and they're 7-1. Their only loss was to Central Valley, so no shame in that.
The only thing I will say about Aliquippa this year, and it's by no fault of their own, their conference is really bad.
Yes, it is. It's bad.
Yeah. I mean, you have you have Beavers having a good year. Newcastle's having a quiet, good year. But usually you expect Montour to be pretty solid. They're only 3-6.
Yep.
Char Valley
Took a step back.
Yeah, I mean Montour's I think 1-3 as of when I'm reading it.
That's as of tonight.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
1-3 going in. Char Valley 1-3 going in. Blackhawk 0-4 going in. So it's kind of top heavy in the Parkway Conference. Aliquippa's always going to be good. But it will be interesting to see how that fares out against, Armstrong, Hampton, Bell Vernon, McKeesport. So I'll be interested to see those matchups in the playoffs.
Yeah, me too. And we've talked about this before. Part of me thinks that, we look at the watered down conferences and, 5A and 3A where there's, you're going to have teams with losing records making the playoffs left and right, specifically in AAA. You're going to have teams that maybe get to 5-5.
Well, here's one that's
that
really
are in
funny
there.
for you, and I have no problem saying this. Can anybody explain to me how Aliquippa can play up in 4A, but North Catholic at 9-0 can't?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, so
is it that they won't, or is it that nobody wants them up there? There's a question to ask. Because
I have a hard time thinking Bell Vernon and Hampton would be afraid of North Catholic. So.
Yeah, well, and if you had North Catholic, they would probably be with Hampton and Armstrong and Highlands.
I
out
would
in that
like
area.
to see them up there. I think they have a really good. They're 9-0, really good program this year. Same thing. They're winning games 40-4.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
So I want to see them up in 4A. I want to see them play against some of those teams. I think it's good for WPIAL football.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. Hey, take the camera, tilt towards you a little bit because you're looking off the screen. There we go.
Yeah,
Your name was cutting across the.
Here we go.
There you go. Now you're in there. All right, we got you. Hey, are you repping West Virginia tonight?
Yeah, I got WVU on.
I like
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I like it. I'm digging
My
that.
wife's from West Virginia, so I gotta rock the Mountaineers. But
Yeah, let's go
yeah, but
Mountaineers.
I'd like to see some of the
I'd love to see North Catholic
Yeah,
step up.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
if Aliquippa can do it, North Catholic can do it.
Oh yeah, listen, they got it. North Catholic when it was on Troy Hill had a good athletic program.
Yes.
Now they've moved to this beautiful suburban campus out in where are they? Wexford, McCandless, somewhere
Yeah,
up in that
yeah.
area. Yeah, I mean they've got all the best at their disposal right now, and they are they're in an area that I think they can draw a lot of students from. I could see North Catholic just naturally growing into a 4A and maybe even a 5A at some point because those are massive districts that they're serving. They've got the talent in football and in basketball too. Boys basketball.
Well, you got to think
specifically.
right now. I mean, your front runners to. I mean, Elizabeth Forward's having a good season. They're undefeated in their conference, but it's
Central
probably
Valley.
going to be Central Valley and North
Yeah.
Catholic, and I think that would be a really good. Central Valley's they're winning their average games are 48-7, so
They're pretty similar.
should be a nice
Yeah.
matchup.
Yeah, Gateway beat Connellsville tonight. That was 55-zip. North Catholic over Freeport. Aliquippa beat Blackhawk 42-14. Mount Pleasant 28. South Park 6. Hampton 30. Knock 0. So they continue to roll. McGuffey 35. Beth Center 8.
I was there,
So
yeah.
congratulations to your new school there that you're
Mm-hmm.
going to be coaching. Chargers Houston defeated Waynesburg 27-24. Carmichael's playing basketball with Avella 63-22. So they poured it on there. Elizabeth Forward playing basketball tonight too, 56-13 over Southmoreland. Lebo, nice win again, 38-7 over Seneca Valley to set themselves to roll into the 6A playoffs. They're 9-0. They've got one game left at Baldwin. That'll run them to 10-0. And what a year they've had. Coach Palco has taken this program from good to great.
Yeah,
And, within one graduating class.
yeah, they're one of the best teams in the state without a doubt, and I don't know. I really don't see anybody beating them in the WPIAL. I think I guess the matchup would be a rematch with Central Catholic, but they handled Central Catholic
They
pretty
did.
convincingly.
I was very, very impressed. And, and we said before the game, I don't know if Central can come back if they fall behind more
Yeah.
than one touchdown. And we saw that as soon as it got beyond one touchdown, the passing game wasn't there that they needed, and they kind of I don't want to say they did. Yeah, I'm going to say it. They showed to be a little one-dimensional.
Yeah,
a little dependent on Gannon Carruthers at running back, and didn't really have the gun that they had.
Anytime you run,
quarterback.
Coach Palco is going to recognize weakness. And he did. He focused. Hey, we'll give you the run and try to beat us with the pass, and they weren't willing to do it, and they cost them.
It cost them. Yeah, listen, and I tell you, there's a buzz around that program in Mount Lebanon. I think, Central's good. If they play again, Central's going to come back a little pissed off. They are. They're going to come back a little angry for the second game. They've done it before and flipped the result, but. You have to say that right now, Lebo's the favorite. They got a good quarterback, good high school quarterback. I think Daniels, probably be a nice D3 quarterback somewhere. The running back Techa, I don't know how he doesn't have an offer. That kid, he's a hard-nosed runner.
He does have some offers.
Some PSACs or something. Because I know Palco had said he doesn't have a Division I offer, so maybe he has some PSAC schools that are looking at him. And Heidenreich going to Navy he's a fantastic player too,
exactly.
And two-way players. Steel Valley, Mauled Apollo Ridge, 57-6. Apollo Ridge, I had mentioned this. Apollo Ridge graduated, I think it was 14 seniors, all of whom played last year. Because I covered a bunch of their games before the City League got started. I said this last week. And they lost everything.
Yeah.
Quarterback, D2 running back, 6'6" wide receiver, whole line. So it's going to be a rebuild time for Apollo Ridge. But really like their coaching staff out there, great people, and to watch the community come out. It was really fun going to their games last year because for a couple weeks they kind of they did the whole limit the people in the stadium because of what the state was mandating. Well. They realized after 2 weeks that, we only let 400 people in the stadium. Well, the fence is open around Apollo Ridge's field. So there are 1,000 people standing around the fence. We're going to just let everybody in the stadium. This is stupid. There are older folks sitting in their chairs. They brought lawn chairs and coffee and this. And they're like, well, wait a minute. We're not selling our coffee. We're not selling our hot dogs. So, we'll let them in. But, yeah, rebuilding year for them. West Green, 56-8 over Jefferson Morgan. West Green graduated quite a bit of talent last year, and they haven't missed a beat.
Yeah, they're undefeated in the conference. One of the top teams in Single A. 7-2 overall. So yeah, very good program. They've been good for a long time at West Green in a lot of sports, not just football. Girls basketball, girls softball. So they have a rich athletic tradition in Greene County.
California 23 zip over Monessen. Greensburg Central, we mentioned, big win over Jeanette, 49. Well, one big, not necessarily big win because this is a Jeanette team that got really taken apart with transfers, not just Catholic schools, but to public schools, to out of state. There's a kid that went to Texas, so they got hit pretty hard. I think everyone thought the game of the week was going to be Avonworth and Central Valley, and it turned out to be anything but. Central Valley ate them alive.
Yeah.
It was 43-6, and Avonworth tacked it on in the last play of the game to get kind of the last score. So. Central Valley, we've had them in our top 5 just in the power rankings overall. They still sit there at number 4 with Pittsburgh Central Catholic, Morgantown University, and Lebo ahead of them. But, you can make an argument that next week when I put these out on Monday that McKeesport could be in there too.
You can also make an argument for Central Valley moving up.
Central Valley
moving up to 4A because they've just dominated everybody in 3A. So
yeah, you could make an argument for that. Should Central Valley move up, and you could play that out. Should Clairton move up? Should they have moved up 10 years ago, 15 years ago? And again, when it was 4 classifications, it was a different kind of game.
Yeah, it was a different kind of game, and this is a different conversation. But
yeah,
with 6 classifications. If you're one of the better teams in the old Single A, which would have been 1 and 2A, yeah, maybe, hey, we're going to move up to Double A. And that wasn't, big deal back in the day.
No,
so.
if you look at, based on current enrollments, if you look at what a 1A could look like, you could have Clairton, Canavan, Leechburg, Springdale, Stowe Rocks in there. Who as enrollment wise would probably be a Class A school.
Yeah,
if you use
Rochester would be Class A.
If you use the old
model,
model. Yeah, a lot of these schools would be Class A schools right now, specifically the ones in the river valleys.
Yeah.
That are double A's. You know, I don't know where Steele or Ligonier would fall in, but they could be Class A's. Those could be, you know, it'd be a little bit different if Clairton had to go beat Sto Rocks. You know,
well, you know,
teams like
here's
that.
and go, you know, using the whole Aliquippa dynamic again. You have Central Valley, which probably has like 2 or 3 times the students as of Aliquippa, and Aliquippa's right down the street.
Yeah, it
so
is.
and Aliquippa's playing up in 4, and Central is playing in 3. So that's why these arguments get interesting, and why for me, we need to go back to 4 classifications.
4 classifications, yeah. Well, like you said, Aliquippa, I think there's only like 150 kids in the whole school.
No, there's probably
more than that.
Yeah, there's probably more than that.
I'm curious. I'm going to go to the PIAA. Let's get the official number from the PIAA. Let's go to schools, classifications. Where are we? Football. We're playing football right now. District 7. They are playing in the Quad A, correct?
Yep.
Aliquippa. Okay, here we are. Okay, you're right. There are 228 children going to Aliquippa High School. Let's compare that to who's
Central Valley.
Let's do Central Valley. Central Valley is playing down in AAA. Central Valley has more boys. There are 541 total.
That's what I'm saying.
So there's 207. They have double. It's double the enrollment.
Yeah.
And Aliquippa is playing with 200-something kids
in the entire school.
Again, in a classification where you have, McKeesport at 700, Hampton is about 700, Charval is pushing 800. So they're playing against schools that are 4 times the size.
Yeah.
And they're competing and probably could even go up 1 more.
Yep.
And compete in the 5A classification. And if you stuck them in 5A with Moon, Bethel, Upper St. Clair, Peters, West Allen, South Fayette, I'd pencil them in as the favorite. Or at least top 2.
At least competing. Yep.
They'd be competing. So, I think we've run through most of the scores here tonight. We got our folks at the Hawks U Zoo, the student section from Morgantown University. They defeated winless Preston High School today, 56-8. So another big win for them as they continue to roll along. The last score I wanted to find, they were up. I assume they closed it out with Steubenville. They won 34-20. And I had said this during the broadcast. There's another university. So we have University, or UPrep, Morgantown University, and then tonight Steubenville beat someone called the University School from Ohio.
Okay.
So we have another university.
Another reason why we use all the different locations
yes.
to describe these schools, because there's multiple schools with the same name.
Yep. So Steubenville gets a win on senior night, 34-20. Tomorrow there are just a couple of games. Let's just look at them real quick. I think it's only like 3 or 4 games. 2, Baldwin Central Catholic, 12 o'clock. That game's at Couples.
Okay.
And then Riverview Bishop Canavan tomorrow at 7. Riverview's 1-6. Canavan up at Dormont Stadium should take.
I don't know what the
them.
geography of it is, but to me it makes more sense for Central Catholic to play their games at Couples than it does at CMU.
Yes, I think
so. Obviously, City League game would take precedence. But that makes more sense to me. Your Pittsburgh Central Catholic, it's a high school football stadium. CMU is close to you, but there's no affiliation with the 2 schools whatsoever.
No, it makes no sense to me. Yeah, I mean, and I think without going political, ideologically, the 2 entities just seem diametrically opposed.
Right.
Like it does. Like they seem like you're on one side,
and maybe another place would be the Riverhound Stadium.
The Riverhound Stadium, could be.
But yeah, I mean, that's. These are goofy conversations me and you have about locations of games.
I think these are goofy conversations that people should have about locations of games. I mean, and for the type of crowd that they could draw, I mean, Central Catholic, playing at Couples Stadium, I think that would be a good draw. It's easy to find parking down there, and you get a big game in there, you have a full house.
Right, I agree.
We'll be taking the T to cover it, but it won't be driving. But listen, I love Couples. That's my favorite stadium.
It's a beautiful stadium. The press box is great. You can pick up pierogi at one of our sister churches right across the street.
Right at the
St.
street, yeah.
John's.
Yep.
And then, hey, if you're an adult, you can go out and get a drink and then hit up Quick Trip IV afterwards and call it a day.
Because life shouldn't stop because of what you did last night. So we're gonna get down and we'll see Bo and Newman in hopefully a week or two. We'll try to get with them. I know we were gonna try to do this Sunday. I'm not sure that's gonna work, but maybe we shoot for him for next week.
Cool.
So yeah, listen. Thanks to our sponsors: Pennsylvania Football News, Polish Falcons, Quick Trip IV. Carnegie Ironworks, who sponsors our rankings, Gym Rat Performance Training. You want to learn how to play basketball in Pittsburgh and be very good at it? See that guy over there?
Yeah, we can help.
They can help. Him and Coach Tom really know what they're doing. These guys are college coaches running this program. They didn't average 1.3 points per game. These
There's
guys,
a lot of trainers.
These are college coaches. Yeah. They know what they're doing. And again, please support them. They're at Gym Rat Performance Training, Mother Mercy Academy, of course. We saw Donnie down at the Central Catholic game 2 weeks ago. They're doing a wonderful job at merging the two schools together and keeping Catholic education alive here in the South Hills. So if you would like to take a look at that, just listen to the commercial from Jordan. Experts say. So they are, mothermercyacademy.org. Visit them online. So I think we're good here for the night. I think we've covered them all.
It's going to be 11:30, so get home, get ready for tomorrow, cover some Whippio soccer and other entities, and get back at it next week.
I'm angry at the CEO. He didn't send in the oddball jersey score of the week. He
said the audio sounded good, so I was happy with that.
I'll let it happen. Yeah, he did say the audio sounded good. He didn't throw out that random Atlantic City versus Camden postponed due to whatever. But there's one other score I want to touch on before we get out of here because it's high school football related. Steelton High Spire, one of the top Class A schools in the state. They've got a bit of a history of thumping teams and laying it on some of those farm schools in the Harrisburg area. It came around tonight. It came around tonight. I believe it was Big Spring or Boiling Spring, one of those two schools out there out in the rural area of District 3. They got revenge tonight for all the small farm schools on Steelton High Spire, and it was 50-something to 6. And I saw on Twitter some of the video because I was still at Couples. They were throwing 40-yard bombs in the fourth quarter. It's like, man, what did they do to you 10 years ago? That coach is like, hey, we got them this year. We're gonna lay it on. But hey, you know what? That's why. It's why I respect a lot of these coaches who. Even to a degree when he has all the talent. I know we said Central doesn't have a passing game. Terry Totten, he'll get up. He won't hang 70 on a team. He'll get 35 and then just up the middle, kill the clock. I think, listen, when you're in high school, I think that's the right thing to do. When you're in college, listen, if Pitt hangs 70 on New Hampshire's getting paid $1 million to come for the game anyway. They don't, the players have a fun experience, and the AD's like, well, we got cashed up. Right. So, but high school, I think, there's some kind of sportsmanship line, especially if you can get to a running clock just up the middle. But in this instance, because Steelton's done this 60-70 thing over the years, sorry. I feel bad for the kids, but for coach, sorry. Yep, I don't feel bad for the coach when that happens, but because there's a way around it. But again, it's been great. You're going to see soccer tomorrow.
I'll report on Twitter, and
I'm going to see soccer at night tomorrow, so we're going to be all over the place. And we'll be back here, and hopefully we'll be adding back to our intern team soon. We're losing one, and I think we're gaining one. So back. We're gaining one back hopefully soon. Please support Elijah. Robert Morris football got a couple of games left, so get out there and support them. He's having a pretty good year. Teams are clearly keying on him too. So, again, please get out there, support him, and give him a shout and point out Three Rivers Broadcasting. Yeah. He'll love it. So, again, thanks for tuning in. Any final thoughts here tonight?
No, I appreciate everybody's taking some time out of their Friday evening to check out the scores with us, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Ciao for now.
Take care.
You've been listening to the Pigskin Report on Three Rivers Broadcasting. To find out more about our station, check out our website at threeriversbroadcasting.com. By the way, why don't you do yourself a favor and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at the number 3, the letter R, Broadcasting. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Andy, did you hear that? Come on, will you?
Did I hear what?
That whistle. That's the Rinso.
Rinso means us.
That's right. Rinso gets clothes Rinso white, and Rinso presents the Amos and Andy Show with their guests for tonight, the Paul Taylor Chorus. Well, it's practically Christmas, and all through the house, the youngsters are helping with everything, even the dishes. But unfortunately for Mom, that state of affairs won't last very long. She'll soon be facing a sink piled high with Christmas dinner dishes and not a helping hand in sight. Of course, Mom knows she can depend on Rinso to make quick work of the biggest pile of dishes. Why, ladies, you just fill your dishpan full of those soapy-rich Rinso suds and watch the heavy grease and sticky food particles scoot. In next to no time, every dish is bright and shining. And ladies, Rinso's easy on your hands, too. So don't take chances. Use Rinso. And now, here are Amos and Andy and their guests, the Paul Taylor Chorus. It's the Saturday before Christmas. The morning crowds are milling about Lenox Avenue in Harlem doing their last-minute shopping. Andy is out with Amos's little girl, Arbadella, on their annual Christmas tour of the department store windows. Right now, they're looking at a little doll in one of the windows.
Yeah, that sure is a pretty doll, Arbadella.
Yes, that's the one I wrote and asked Santa Claus to bring me. But Daddy said I wrote the letter too late. You see, I only wrote it 2 days ago.
Yeah, well, that ain't giving Santa Claus much time. You got to write him before that.
Isn't she pretty, though, Uncle Andy?
Yeah.
Daddy said Santa Claus would bring her to me next Christmas.
Oh, sure. You see, that'll give him more time.
We're having a good time today, ain't we, Uncle Andy? I like being out with you.
Yeah, and I like being out with you, too, Arbadella. But I guess we better be getting on home now.
Do you think Mommy and Daddy will be home yet?
Oh, yeah. They say they'd be home at 12.
Uncle Andy, let me just look at the doll once more.
Oh, sure, honey.
She's beautiful. She's a talking doll, too.
Yeah, they is the best ones, all right.
That sure is a pretty dress she's got on. But when Santa Claus brings her to me next year, I'm going to make her a lot more pretty dresses. Pink ones. I can hardly wait till next Christmas.
Miss Andy, you sure got a lot of Christmas presents there.
Yeah, Lightning, I wants to get them all wrapped up now, too, so I ain't got to do it this afternoon or tonight.
Yeah, what is that one you got there, perfume?
Yeah, for one of my girlfriends. You know, Sadie Blake.
Yeah. She like that sweet-smelling stuff, all right, don't she?
Yeah. Well, she oughta. This is genuine imported French perfume.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this. They done left the price on there. 25 cents. Is you got a pencil, Lightning?
Yeah, sir, but I ain't got no rubber on the end of it.
Well, I don't care about no rubber. I just wants to put 2 in front of that and make it 2 1/4. You see, Lightning, if Sadie don't like the perfume, she'll be crazy about the price.
Yeah, sir. What you got in this package here, Miss Andy?
Oh, them are some handkerchiefs that I'm going to give that other gal friend of mine, Evelyn Bennett.
But wait a minute, Miss Andy. These has got a C broidered up in the corner.
Yeah, well, last year I was going to give them to that gal Carmen that I was going with, but we done busted up 2 days before Christmas.
Yeah, well, with the letter C on there, I don't see how you can give them to Evelyn Bennett.
Yeah, well, I thought of that. So for the last 3 weeks, I've been calling her Cookie.
Yeah, sir. Look here come the Kingfish and Henry Van Porter.
Yeah, come in, fellas, come in.
Well, hello there, Lightning. Hello, Andy. Merry Christmas, fellas. Noel, and all that stuff.
Yes, a charming Yuletide. A charming Yuletide to you, gentlemen. A charming Yuletide.
Yeah, charming Yuletide to you, too, Henry.
Yeah, well, I see you wrapping all your Christmas presents here, Andy. Anytime that you want me to turn my back and not look, just say the word.
Well, listen, I ain't bought you a present, Kingfish.
Oh, you ain't got around to that yet, huh? Well, don't worry about it, Brother Andy. You got time. You know, my wife and me were talking about the same thing just this morning. She said to me, George, do you think that any of your friends is going to give you that bathrobe they got in the corner window at the Globe department store? I said, honey, you mean the blue one with the red sash around it that I'm crazy about? She said, yeah, you know, it's marked $3.95. I said, yeah, honey, that's the one, size 40. Funny thing, I mean, my wife talk back and forth like that, ain't it? You know,
Yes, well, you could use a new bathrobe, Kingfish. That one you had on yesterday certainly was a mess.
Yeah, oh, and by the way, Andy, I just thought of something. How big is that door at your boarding house?
Door? Why?
Well, I'm coming up to see you tomorrow morning with a pretty big package for you. If I can't get it in there, though, I can always take the door off the hinges, can't we?
Yeah. Say, this is kind of embarrassing because I is broke and can't afford to buy nothing for you.
Nothing at all?
That's right. Say, what time you expect to be up there with that big package?
Well, on second thought, it might not be as early as I expected, you know.
Well, I'll be there all morning.
Yeah, well, don't wait for me, though, Andy. See, I got a lot of package to deliver. Might not get around to you till February or March. I don't know what the thing is.
Yeah, well, I knowed it was something like that.
Miss Andy, I've been trying to wrap some of these packages here for you. This is a hard one, all right.
Well, what in the world is that?
Oh, that's a little toy automobile I done bought for Amos Jr. You wind it up and it scoots around the floor, backs up, and does everything. I'll show you here.
Yeah, let's see that there.
Now, watch this.
Mm-hmm, go ahead.
Look at it go.
Say, that is the cutest thing I done ever seen.
Yeah, see the way that thing went around there? Look at that.
Well, look at this, will you? It's even got a license number on it.
Yeah, let me have it, Henry. I want to see if I can shoot it around the floor again here.
Well, I can wind it myself, Kingfish.
Well, let me do it, Henry. I asked for it.
Yes, but I picked it up first.
Well, now, don't break it, fellas.
Well, Andy, can't I be the one to work it?
Kingfish, I'm going to work it. Now, let's not be childish about this.
All right. But I'm next on the thing.
Well, I'm going to put it back in the box now before it gets broke. And I got a lot of things to do around here, too. You children better run along home now.
By the way, Andy, you coming over to the gatherings at Lodge Hall this afternoon, ain't you?
Oh, yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, you know, all the boys are getting together. Christmas spirit, refreshment, slapping everybody on the back and all that stuff, you know.
Yes, the whole gang is going to be there. I'll see you there, Andy.
Okay. So long, fellas.
Yeah, well, so long. Merry Christmas.
Goodbye, boys. Goodbye.
Well, I was wrapping this package of colored crayons that you bought for $1, Miss Andy.
Yeah, go ahead, wrap that.
Must I rub out the 10 cents or must I just put a $1 in front of it?
Oh, rub it out. This ain't much of a gift to give a kid, is it?
And those, well, it ain't bad, Miss Andy.
Yeah, but she might not even like crayons.
Well, she might and she might not. After all, you don't know what Miss Amos's daughter likes.
Well, the funny part of it is, Lightning, I do know what she likes.
Well, even if you do, that don't make no difference because you was broke. You ain't got enough money to buy nothing more.
Yeah, that's what's troubling me. I is broke. Say, Lightning, what time is it?
It's nearly 1 o'clock.
Say, I'm going to leave. I'll see you later.
Did you want to see me?
Yes, I guess so. Is you the gentleman to do the hiring here for the store?
That's right. My name is Simmons.
Yeah, well, I was wondering if you need any extra sales help for the last-minute rush this afternoon. I would work hard.
Well, we did need extra help up until yesterday, but I think we can get through the rest of the day with the salespeople we have.
Oh. Well, thank you just the same, mister.
Wait, just a minute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, brother.
Maybe you can do it.
What's that?
Well, one of our Santa Claus's helpers was called home. You see, his wife was taken ill suddenly, and we could use somebody to take his place. You think you could do it?
Be Santa Claus's helper?
That's right.
Yeah, well, I ain't never done that before. Well, sure, I can do it.
Fine. Now, if you'll come down to the 4th floor, I'll give you your Santa Claus suit and tell you just what you're supposed to do.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Brown, that Santa Claus suit seems to fit you as well as the man who worked here before.
Yeah. Help me button the thing up, will you, Mr. Simmons? A little snug right here.
Yes, I see. Well, you've got that pillar in there just right.
That ain't no pillar. That's me.
Well, I think you better hurry and finish putting on your costume, Mr. Brown. I want you to get out in the toy department with the children.
Yeah, well, I guess the next thing you do is to get these boots on here. I'll sit down here and try to get in them. I'll pull them on here. Uh-oh. Mr. Simmons, has you got any of that sliding powder by any chance?
Why? What's the matter?
The dogs is too big for the house. Wait a minute. I got one in. Now, here goes the other one. There he is. Feet, you was wrapped up plenty tight today.
Well, that's fine. Now just put on these whiskers and this hat, and you're all set.
Yes, okay. Now, what must I do, Mrs. Simmons, when I gets out there?
Well, Santa Claus's chair is right over at the far end of the toy department. Now, I want you to listen to the little children while they tell you what they would like for Christmas. And then assure them that Santa Claus will get their message.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And the idea is that Santa Claus would have a pretty tough time of it handling everything himself if he didn't have you helpers. I think you understand what I mean.
Oh, yes, sir, yes. I understand all right. Yes.
And if you run into any difficulties of any sort, just call the floor walker.
All right, Sonny, you was next. Come right up here now and sit on Santa Claus's lap. That's the boy. Now, tell Santa Claus, what you want for Christmas?
I want a G-Man badge and a gun.
A G-Man badge and a gun. Yeah, well, what's your name, Sonny?
Oliver Griffith.
Oliver Griffith? Well, is you done been a good boy all year, Oliver?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, I could have seen that without even asking you. You was a nice little fella. I bet you drinks up all your milk at every meal, don't you?
No, I don't.
You don't?
No.
Well, you drinks part of it, though, don't you?
I don't drink none of it.
None of it, huh?
No.
Oh, floor walker, can you come over here?
If Santa Claus bring me the G-Man badge and the gun, I'll drink my milk.
Oh, yeah, well, never mind, floor walker. Oh, that's a good little boy, Oliver. Now, you just hang up your stocking and everything gonna be all right.
Oh, thank you, Santa Claus. Come on, Oliver.
Am I next?
Yeah, you was next. My, what a nice little girl. Sit right here on my knee. Now, tell me, what is your name?
Henrietta Lewis.
That's a pretty name, too. And that's a pretty little dress you got on there.
My mama made it for me. See the ribbon?
Yeah, that's good, all right. Henrietta, you was one of the sweetest little girls I done ever seen. Now, tell me, what do you want for Christmas?
A football.
A football?
Yes, and a 2 chest and a drum.
2 chests? Well, what do a little girl like you want with them things?
Oh, I don't want them for myself.
Oh, well, who does you want them for?
My little brother.
Your brother?
Yes, you see, he's sick in bed, and he couldn't come down here, and I don't want you to forget him.
Oh, well, that sure is sweet of you, Henrietta. And I can tell you right now that Santa Claus is going to take care of him.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, Santa Claus.
Merry Christmas, honey. Merry
Hey, quit shoving. I'm next.
Yeah, no fighting there now, boys. No fighting. Take it easy.
I tried to push in ahead of me. I'm next, ain't I, Santa Claus?
Yes, sir. I mean, yeah, Sonny. What's your name?
Percy Carter.
Percy, huh? What you want for Christmas?
I want a machine gun. Do I get it?
I'll see what I can do about it and all that stuff.
I want a wallet, too, with a picture of Humphrey Bogart in it.
Yeah, well, I'll work on that, too. Who's next?
Wait a minute, Santa Claus. I ain't through yet. I want to ask you something.
Yeah, well, what is it, Percy?
Last year, I asked you for a pair of skates, and I didn't get them. What goes?
Well...
Well, you got a lot of other stuff, though, didn't you?
Yeah. I got a necktie, some socks, and a couple of handkerchiefs. But who wants that stuff?
Ah, well, better luck this year. All right, who's next?
Wait a minute. I got more stuff to ask you.
Oh,
In that workshop up north where Santa Claus makes all his toys,
yeah.
what kind of country is that?
Country? Well, it's just, it's nothing but ice and snow and ice, all stuff like that.
No trees or nothing?
No, just ice and snow.
Then where does Santa Claus get the apples and oranges he puts in the stockings every Christmas?
It's old floor, Walker.
Ah, forget it.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, son. Who's next?
I am, Santa Claus.
Oh, step right up, Sonny. Step
Yes,
right
sir.
up.
Yes, sir.
And what's your name?
Jimmy Watson.
And what
A
is
baseball glove, a punching bag, a watercolor set, a ring toss, a fountain pen, a Mickey Mouse watch, a cowboy suit, a telegraph set, a bicycle bell, a flashlight, and a baby sister.
Is that all you want?
That's all I can think of right now.
Well, you look a little worn out, Mr. Brown.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I is a little tired. I ain't never talked to so many kids in all my life. But you know something? They is really cute, though, you know it?
Well, you did very well. All the children seemed very happy, and the parents were just standing there beaming.
Yes, sir. Yes, I see that. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, we certainly appreciated having you here this afternoon.
Yes, sir. Well, tell you the truth, I enjoyed it, too. And, of course, you know I done it for a special reason.
Yes, and here it is, Mr. Brown. I had the stock boy take it out of the window. The talking doll.
Well, Andy has been well rewarded in his effort to get a Christmas present for Amos's little girl. We'll hear more about it in just a moment. You know, Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without holly wreaths and Christmas trees and little dinner table scenes like this one.
Oh, boy! Turkey! Oh, I want the drumstick.
Oh, Tommy, you're going to upset the gravy bowl. Oh, Tommy, you've got gravy all over your shirt.
Well, Tommy's shirt will be a real contribution to the family wash this time, to say nothing of the tablecloth. But does that bother his mother?
Well, Tommy's shirt is certainly not very pretty. But with Rinso in the wash tub, it will come out like magic.
Yes, you see, ladies, Rinso soaks clothes clean in as little as 10 minutes. Just a few quick finger rubs wherever the dirt's a little stubborn, and rinse. All your washable colors come spotlessly Rinso bright, safely, even after dozens of washings. And, of course, Rinso gets your whitewash Rinso white, because those peppy, rich suds get out more dirt. So make every wash day a Rinso wash day, and you'll whistle while you work. And now, back to the Amos and Andy Show and their guests, the Paul Taylor Chorus. Well, it's Christmas Eve. Andy has just arrived at Amos's with an arm full of packages.
Well, come in, son. Come in. You look like Santa Claus there with all that stuff.
Yeah, how is you, boy? How is you? Say, that tree looks good.
Yeah, pretty, ain't it, Anna?
Sure is. Wait a minute. Let me lay these packages down here on the sofa.
Yeah, tell me this. You making the rounds now, huh?
Oh, yeah, making the rounds, spreading good cheer and all that
it.
stuff, yeah. Boy, that is a pretty tree. You got a lot of lights on there, too.
Yeah, we've been saving them for 2-3 years. You know, they're pretty hard to get now.
Oh, sure, I know.
We just decorated that tonight. Yeah, Reuben and Mama is going out to take a few things to some poor people they heard about here in town. They'll be gone for about an hour.
Oh, yeah, I see.
I say, Andy, why wasn't you over with all the fellas at the lodge hall yesterday?
Who, me? I must have clean forgot about that. Well, Amos, I'll leave these packages right here.
All of them?
Oh, sure. Here's one for Ruby, and here's one for Mama. Here's one for you. And there's a little toy automobile for your baby.
Oh, gee, Andy.
And here's a package for Arbadella. And listen, Amos.
What's that?
Be sure and tell her that this one is from Santa Claus.
Oh, gee, that's a nice-looking package there for her, all right.
Oh, just a little something I picked up. Nothing.
Oh, gee, you certainly is a Santa Claus this year, and I ain't never seen a Santa Claus like this.
Yeah, well, don't forget. I seen a lot of stuff over at my place from your house.
Yeah, well, like I told you, Andy, it ain't much, but we wanted you to know that we love you and we're thinking about you.
Oh, well, Amos, I feel better this year than I ever felt. By the way, when are you going to open up your packages?
All the kids get up early, and we all get up and start early Christmas morning. And now, don't forget, too, you promised us this morning that you'd be here for Christmas dinner.
Oh, yeah, I sure will. That's nice of you, too, because the other two I was figuring on going to didn't work out so good.
Oh, it didn't, huh?
No.
Yeah, well, we want you here, Andy, so you count on it.
Yeah, well, that's swell. Well, I got to get going, son. I got to run around, drop in on 2-3 people, say hello to them.
Yeah, well, okay, son, and I'll see you tomorrow. And thanks a lot for the presents. It sure was nice of you, Andy.
Oh, nothing at all. And say Merry Christmas to Ruby and her mama for me and the kids.
Yes, I will, Andy. I'm going on back with Arbadella now.
Yeah, well, so long, Amos.
So long, Andy, so long. Bring forth the royal diadem and crown him Lord. Well, honey, you was all in bed, ain't you?
Daddy, can I turn on the little radio for a minute before I go to sleep?
Yeah, well, just for a minute or two, I'll snap it on for you. There you are. Now we let it warm up a few seconds. We don't want to wake up baby.
Oh, music never wakes him up, Daddy.
Yeah, well, now, let me straighten your covers out a little, honey. Tell me this, as you said your prayers?
Mommy heard my prayers before she went out, Daddy.
Yeah, well, that's good.
The Paul Taylor Chorus continues with the Lord's Prayer.
Well, now, get under the covers.
Daddy, could you get some Christmas music on the radio?
Why, darling, this is the very best Christmas music you could get. They're going to sing the Lord's Prayer.
I've been saying the Lord's Prayer with Mommy. She's been teaching it to me.
Yeah, I know she is.
What does the Lord's Prayer mean, Daddy?
Well, it means an awful lot, and with the world like it is today, it seems to have a bigger meaning than ever before.
But what does the Lord's Prayer mean, Daddy?
The Lord's Prayer? Well, darling, I'll explain it to you.
Well, will you, Daddy?
Yeah, now, you lay down there, that's right, and listen. Now, the first line of the Lord's Prayer is this. Our Father, which art in heaven. That means Father of all that is good, where no wrong can ever dwell. Then it says, hallowed will be thy name. That means, darling, that we should love and respect all that is good.
Oh.
And then it says, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. That means, darling, as we clean our hearts of all hate and selfishness and fill our hearts with love, the good, the true, and the beautiful, then this earth where we are now will be just like heaven.
That would be wonderful, Daddy.
Then it says after that, give us this day our daily bread. Now that means, honey, to feed our hearts and minds with kindness, love, and courage, which will make us strong for our daily task. Then after that, the next line of the Lord's Prayer is this, honey.
Mm-hmm.
And forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Do you remember the golden rule?
Yes, sir.
Well, that means that we must keep the golden rule and do unto others as we would want others to do unto us.
Oh.
And then it says after that, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Now, that means, my darling, to ask God to help us do and see and think right so that we will neither be led or tempted by anything in the world that could be bad. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. That means, my darling, that all the world and everything is in it belongs to God's kingdom. Everything. Your mommy, your daddy, your little brother, your grandma, you and everybody. And as we know that and act as if we do know it, my darling, that is the real spirit of Christmas.
That's good, Daddy.
Well, now, I guess we ought to cut off the radio and let you go to sleep.
Good night, Daddy.
Good night, sweetheart.
Daddy, will you leave the radio on while I go to sleep?
All right, I'll leave it on and you can listen to some Christmas music. Merry Christmas, my darling. And Andy. How do you do, ladies and gentlemen?
Hello, folks.
On behalf of the makers of Rinso and everybody here, we want to sincerely wish you a very happy Christmas.
We know that to many of you, it won't really seem like Christmas this year with your loved ones so far away. But there are many things to be grateful for.
And we hope and pray that a year from now, we will all be able to celebrate a Christmas when there is really peace on earth.
Good night, folks.
Merry Christmas.
Be sure to be with us again next Friday evening at this same time when the makers of Rinso will again present the Amos and Andy Show. Our thanks to the Paul Taylor Chorus for joining Amos and Andy in their Christmas presentation tonight. This is Harlow Wilcox saying good night to all of you from all of us. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Around Dodge City and in the territory on west, there's just one way to handle the killers and the spoilers, and that's with a U.S. Marshal and the smell of gun smoke. Gunsmoke, starring William Conrad. The story of the violence that moved west with young America. The story of a man who moved with it. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal.
Welcome to the Cherokee Palace, Marshal. I see you received my complaint.
I got it, Mingo. Where's Stanley?
Where do you think? Upstairs.
Brandy?
Naturally. She always does mother him when he's in trouble. Be careful, Marshal. He might be dangerous.
Well, Marshal, you got a sweet word for Dixie?
Yeah. Move.
Oh, it's not very sweet. It was to the point. Say hello to Jim for me, huh? Go away.
It's me, Brandy. Matt.
Come in, Matt. Join me in a drink?
Where is he, Brandy?
In the next room. Cried himself to sleep.
Save it, Brandy. I gotta take him.
Oh, why, Matt? Jim Stanley never did a mean thing in his life. He's no bad man.
He stole money from Mingo's roulette table, and he threw a bottle at him when he was caught. Mingo's pressing charges. Stanley can clear himself in court.
Huh? Against Mingo's witnesses?
Do you bring Stanley out, or do I go get him?
Go get him. But I wouldn't be proud, Matt.
Stick to running dance hall girls, Brandy. Let me run the law, huh? Stanley? Stanley!
Oh, it's you, Marshal. I was sleeping.
I want you to come with me, Jim.
Come with you? Sure, Marshal.
You better get up. Come on. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, where are we going, Marshal? would you like to visit my ranch? I got a new colt. The prettiest little sorrel you ever saw.
Jim? We're going to jail.
Jail? Me, Marshal? Do I have to?
Yes, Jim.
I've never been in a jail.
I'm sorry, Jim.
No. I can't go in there. No, Marshal, I ain't never been locked up before. Please, don't make me.
I have to.
I didn't mean to do it. Honest. I just lost my head when I realized my money was gone. I wouldn't have kept those chips.
I know that.
I just grabbed them. I don't know why. They were there, and I just grabbed them, and then Mingo started in on me. He kept saying things, bad things about...
Take it easy, Jim.
I wouldn't have cared, except that, well, Dixie was there. He kept yelling at me that I was a thief right in front of her. I tried to make him stop, and he wouldn't. Then something happened. The bottle was there.
You threw it at Mingo?
No, I just threw it, Marshal. I was crazy. I didn't mean to hurt nobody.
I believe you, Jim.
Marshal, will you ask Dixie to come and see me later?
Yeah, sure, I'll ask her.
Thanks. I just want to tell her not to blame Mingo for all this. She might say something or give up her job.
Don't worry, Jim. I don't think Dixie's going to give up anything.
He won't eat his dinner, Mr. Dillon. He just sits there staring.
Yeah, poor devil.
He won't really be convicted, will he?
Well, I hope not, Chester.
Mingo's the one who ought to be in jail.
Look, Chester, this isn't exactly my idea of justice either. A shady gambler against a simple-minded horse rancher.
Hello, Marshal. Goodbye, Chester.
Oh, goodbye. I'll run along.
You stay put, Chester.
Oh, now, Marshal, I want to be alone with you.
I sent for you to come and visit Jim Stanley, and you better be nice to him.
Most fellas are tickled pink if I like them. They say I'm pretty.
You're pretty enough.
That's better. I knew you liked me.
I said you were pretty. I didn't say I liked you.
Oh, now that's nasty.
Would you like to hear what I really think of you?
No, don't bother. I get the idea.
You're Mingo's girl.
When I feel like it.
And why do you have to tease a man like Stanley, drive him to drinking and gambling and trouble like he's in now?
He's sweet. He thinks I'm beautiful.
Yeah. But even men like him wake up. Stick to Mingo.
Hello, Marshal. Thought I'd drop in and see if your prisoner was all set for trial tomorrow.
Mingo, I want you to withdraw those charges.
And let that potential murderer go free? No.
You got back the chips Stanley took from your table, and his assaulting a man like you is ridiculous. He doesn't even wear a gun.
A bottle constitutes a deadly weapon. Look it up, Marshal.
Why you doing this, Mingo? Why pick on a man like Stanley?
Let's say I don't like him always slobbering over Dixie. She's private property.
For that greedy little vixen, you'd send Stanley to prison knowing that it'll probably crack his mind completely?
That's his problem.
You don't understand, Mingo. I don't like to see people pushed around.
Well, don't cross me, Marshal.
I already have.
People get dead that way.
Yeah, so I've heard. Now, just who are these witnesses of yours against Stanley?
Ned Cole, Saginaw Henry.
Both on your payroll?
Dixie. Some of the other girls.
All working for you, huh?
Jim Stanley's as good as convicted, Marshal. There's not a thing you can do about it.
Here, man. Drink this.
Thanks, Brandy.
You know, all you need to do is stop fighting yourself, Matt. You're mixed up.
That's sure true, Brandy. You know, it's funny when it's something you can fight with your fists and your guns, it's easy, but how do you fight a deal like this?
You gotta clear Jim somehow.
With those witnesses against him, Jim can't win in court. Technically, he's a criminal.
Oh, criminal, my foot.
He admits the crimes. The judge will have to sentence him to at least a minimum jail term.
We know there are witnesses who can prove he's innocent. Now, a smart man would find a way to make him talk.
I've been thinking about it. Well, I'll tell Jim you were asking after him. I think he'd like that.
He's Dixie's. I had me a man once, Matt. I traded him for a bottle of brandy. I paid a stiff price for my name.
You're not through yet, Brandy.
Oh, sure. I play mother to everybody. Take everybody's troubles on my shoulders. Help salve my conscience. Don't ever hurt a person, Matt. You never get through paying for it.
Well, I better be going.
Where?
To try to get some of those witnesses to talk. Hello, Saginaw.
Huh? Oh, it's you.
I've been looking for you.
Then you've been looking for trouble.
Well, you're beginning to sound like your boss, Mingo.
It's late. What do you want?
I want to read you something from this book.
What book?
This law book.
Oh, so?
First law I see says that anyone giving a drink to an Indian is liable to fine up to $500. I saw you buy an Indian Pete a drink only last week.
Pete's a stable boy. He ain't no savage.
Law doesn't say savage, says Indian. Pete's an Indian, so technically you broke the law.
You can't make
Next one says any man that disrobes in a public place is guilty of committing a public nuisance. Carries a fine of $100.
Look, what the devil is all this?
I saw you breaking a horse down in Harrison's Corral a little while back. You took your shirt off, and that's disrobing in a public place. Technically.
You can't get away with this, Dillon.
How much you make a month, Saginaw?
50, 75.
Uh-huh. Well, the way it looks, I can get you fined on enough of these laws to keep you broke for about 5 years.
5 years?
Then we can start all over again.
You're bluffing. I never even heard of these laws.
Well, look for yourself here. If you witnesses are going to send Jim Stanley to jail on a technicality, then a lot of you are going to jail the same way.
Well, laws may be there, but they ain't fair.
All right, Saginaw, if that's how you want it. Come on, let's go to jail.
No, wait.
Well, then start talking.
Well, Dixie shilled Stanley into losing his money, and me and Ned Cole egged him into grabbing a couple of chips when the wheelman wasn't looking.
On Mingo's orders?
Sure. Stanley looked down at the chips we swiped, and he reached out to hand them back when Mingo jumped him.
What was Dixie doing?
Trying to keep from laughing.
Yeah, I'll bet. And then what?
Mingo rode Stanley hard to make him break down in front of Dixie. Finally, the poor lunkhead seemed to go crazy. He yelled and tossed a bottle at the bar.
Not at Mingo?
No, missed him by 10 feet. Stanley was just working off his mad by busting the bottle. Paid for it. I guess he had the right.
Yeah, I guess he had.
First, I think Mingo was just deviling Stanley, and then he got the idea to press charges and send him to jail. We got orders out to testify.
Uh-huh. Well, thanks, Saginaw.
Marshal, I'd like you to know something.
Yeah?
I'm glad I told you about Stanley, because framing him into prison isn't my idea of something to be proud of.
It shouldn't be. Good evening, Chester.
My, what are you so happy about, Mr. Dillon?
Everything, Chester, everything.
Is it about Jim Stanley?
It is about Jim Stanley. He's going to clear himself in court tomorrow. Come on, let's go tell him.
Well, gracious, that is good news. He couldn't have taken much more of being locked up.
I know. Hey, Jim, wake up. We're going to bring... Jim.
Mr. Dillon, he's gone.
Both window bars are cut. Yeah. And here's what cut him.
A hacksaw blade. And look yonder, there's another.
Oh, that fool. Why couldn't he have waited one more day and he'd have been free?
Jim Stanley didn't have those hacksaw blades on him, Mr. Dillon. I know. I searched him good.
You searched Dixie good?
Hmm? Oh, mercy, no, Mr. Dillon. She's a girl.
He didn't have any other visitors?
No, sir. Mingo's going to be awful mad when he finds out his girl helped Jim Stanley get away.
Come on.
You going to arrest Dixie, Mr. Dillon?
I don't know, Chester. First, I got to find her.
We will return for the second act of Gunsmoke in just a moment. But first, every Sunday on CBS Radio, hear both sides debate the issues on Pick the Winner. It's a program that brings in the top people from Democratic and Republican camps, standing their ground and delivering their views on the biggest questions of the campaign. Don't miss Pick the Winner, Sundays between now and November, to be fully informed when it comes time to vote. And remember, straight through election time, make CBS Radio your election headquarters. Now, the second act of Gunsmoke.
Kind of late, aren't you, Marshal?
Where's Dixie, Mingo?
Dixie, she's gone. I don't know where she is.
You're lying.
No, I swear she disappeared hours ago.
I still think you're lying. Dixie's here someplace.
No, he's telling you the truth for once, Matt. Dixie's gone, all right.
Are you sure, Brandy?
Saw her right out of town.
Was Stanley?
Yeah, Matt. The two of them.
Dixie and Stanley?
Dixie passed him some saw blades. He cut his way out.
That rotten double-crossing hellcat.
She's your girl, Mingo.
I'll be the laughingstock of Dart City.
Good. I hope they laugh you clear out of Kansas.
If it's the last thing I'll do, I'll find her. Both of them.
Finding them is my job, Mingo.
Go ahead. But you better beat me to them, or you'll be arresting them dead.
Well, they stopped here, all right. Probably changed horses and got some supplies.
That wasn't why Stanley came home. Look, Chester.
What?
Water in the stock trough is right up to the top. And the barn's open. Feed pulled out where the stock can reach it. Even scared to death, Jim thought about his animals first.
Mr. Dillon, you think Mingo's trailing Stanley and Dixie, too?
Perhaps. It's one good reason why we better catch him quick. Come on.
Still no sign.
Looks like we've lost them for good now.
What do we do, go back, Mr. Dillon?
Well, we can't let Mingo find them.
Sure, but the way they've been zigzagging back and forth for the last 4 days, we don't have a chance in 1,000.
I'm not so sure, Chester.
Hmm?
You know, there's a certain pattern about the way Stanley and Dixie have been moving. I don't think they're trying to leave this section at all.
Yeah, we have been getting closer and closer to Dodge with every circle lately.
And not only to Dodge.
Mr. Dillon, you got an idea?
Yeah, maybe. Come on, we'll ride back to Stanley's ranch.
You think they came back here?
I will soon find out. From what we saw here before, I'll bet Stanley's not the kind to stay away from his ranch for very long.
Hit the dirt, Jim. Behind the trough.
Yeah. It's Jim Stanley. There's his horse.
Yeah. All right, keep your eyes open.
Stanley! Jim, it's Matt Dillon. Let me talk to you.
You go away, Marshal. I don't want to hurt you, but I ain't going back to that jail. Now, you go away now. I'll kill you.
Jim, listen to me. I've got a witness.
You better leave quick now. Please, Marshal.
Mr. Dillon, I'm getting wet.
That's better than getting shot. Keep your head down.
Yes, sir. Sure is wet.
Stanley's in a good position. Closest cover for us is the barn. That's across 50 yards of clearing. That's a long run.
He could pick us off before we made 10 feet.
Yeah.
Jim, I'm not leaving until I've talked to you.
Leave me alone, Marshal. Can't you leave me alone?
I'm coming to talk to you, Jim.
No! No, stay back! I warn you!
Mr. Dillon, don't do it. That's a crazy man.
That's a frightened man, Chester.
I'm coming unarmed, Jim. I don't think you're a murderer, but if you are, this is your chance.
Good luck, Mr. Dillon. Mr. Dillon!
Stanley's shot sliced across my side like a branding iron. It was all I could do to ignore my fear and keep going. But somehow I reached the ranch house alive. And I opened the door. Jim Stanley stood there holding his gun. And crying. Jim?
I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. I was only trying to scare you. I'm not a killer. I never shot anybody in my life. Honest, Marshal, I can't even shoot a rabbit.
I know that, Jim.
I'm afraid. I've always been afraid of things. I try to be like other people, and it only seems to bring trouble.
You can stop being afraid of the law and jail right now. That's all over with.
You mean that, Marshal? Really?
Really.
But I shot you.
Did you? I don't recall.
Oh, but Mr. Dillon, shot hit your side. Right there. You see it? It's bleeding.
Now, Jim, listen to me. You didn't shoot me.
Oh? Well, all right, if you say so, Mr. Dillon.
I say so. Here, I'll take that rifle. Now, let's go back to town and get this business settled, huh?
You've been good to me, Marshal.
Forget it, Jim. There is one thing, though. Dixie.
Oh, she brought me hacksaw blades.
I know that.
She said you were going to hang me and that I had to escape. She kept saying it.
Uh-huh. She was riding with you. Well, where is she now?
Oh, she left me last night. I was glad. I was nearly wild listening to her talk about you and prison. I even swore I'd kill myself before I'd go back to jail.
I'm glad you didn't mean it.
Oh, I meant it at the time. Oh, I was sure scared.
You feel better now?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I know. Everything's just going to be fine.
The rifle slug splashed the side of Jim's face with red, and he crumpled into the dirt. From the water trough, Chester opened up and drew the fire of whoever was hiding in the hayloft of the barn. I could see a gun barrel poking out from the side of the hayloft. I picked up Stanley's rifle. Mingo.
Mr. Dillon, are you all right?
Yeah, Chester. But Mingo's dead.
Well, how about Jim Stanley, Mr. Dillon?
Yeah, he was scared more than hurt. He should come to any minute.
Well, my goodness. Oh, this looks like a sure enough war's been happening around here.
Where have you been, Dixie?
Oh, sure now, Marshal. A girl's got a right to look after her investments. My Mingo and Stanley both dead. Well, now that's a real shame.
Hmm? Oh, but Jim Stanley's gonna
Chester. You said investments. The only investment you've made is prison time for helping Jim escape.
Me? Well, how you going to prove anything, Marshal? With Jim dead.
But he's...
Chester, why don't you go look after the horses?
But Mr. Dillon...
Yes, sir.
It's a right good thing because I'm going to be terribly busy, you know, taking care of poor Jim's ranch and money and of course, the funeral and everything.
Why should all that concern you, Dixie?
Because I'm Jim Stanley's widow.
What?
I married him 3 days ago in this city. It was such a sweet wedding.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
And now all I have left are some memories. And, of course, this little old ranch and Jim's money.
Dixie, there's something you should know.
Hmm?
You also got a husband. Have you heard enough, Jim?
Enough.
Jim! When I saw you fall...
You're pure bad, Dixie.
Oh, well, Jim, you mustn't pay no mind to what I said. I was upset. Didn't I come back just to be with you?
No good, Dixie. Jim's onto you now.
Jim, are you going to let him talk to me like that?
He's my friend. And I don't like you now, Dixie.
Oh, it's too bad. I'm still your wife.
Marshal, can she make that stick?
Well, by law, you have to support her, Jim. Of course, it don't say how.
Marshal, you stop putting ideas
And, of course, she has to take care of your house for you, Jim. Clean it, do the chores, cook for you.
Cook? Me? Cook for him?
He can make you, Dixie. It's his right.
All right, or not. I'd like to see him try.
He can do it, Dixie.
Yeah? Well, they can't if I'm not here. And I'm leaving right now.
You want to ride into town with us, Jim?
No. I think I'd rather stay here for a while, Marshal. If it's all right.
Yeah, sure. I'll fix it. But in a few days, when you feel like it, come in and see me, and we'll help you get that divorce taken care of.
Divorce?
On grounds of desertion. She just deserted you, remember? Chester and I are your witnesses.
Oh. Well, thanks, Marshal. I sure do thank you.
So long, Jim.
Goodbye, Marshal. Bye.
Come on, Chester, let's go.
He's had it too rough out here on the frontier, hasn't he, Mr. Dillon? Jim Stanley, I mean. It's addled him, sort of.
Yeah, I guess that's it, Chester.
Men like him needs looking after.
Yeah, we got all kinds out here, Chester. Come on, let's get back to town.
Gunsmoke, under the direction of Norman MacDonald, stars William Conrad as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal. Tonight's story was specially written for Gunsmoke by Herb Purdom, with music composed and conducted by Rex Corey. Featured in the cast were John Daner and Michael Ann Barrett, with Paul Dubov, Vivi Janis, and Bill Lally. Parley Bear is Chester. Join us again next week as Matt Dillon, U.S. Marshal, fights to bring law and order out of the wild violence of the West in Gunsmoke. Tomorrow's speakers on Pick the Winner, representing both the major parties, will be Harold Stassen, Republican, and George Ball, Democrat. Listen for this important program, Pick the Winner, tomorrow and every Sunday from now to November. This is Roy Rowan speaking, and this is the CBS Radio Network.
Are you looking for a job that can turn into a career? If so, why don't you hit the road with Waste Management? Waste Management is hiring experienced and entry-level CDL truck drivers and technicians. If you're at least 18 years of age, come join our growing team and get up to a $7,000 sign-on bonus based on experience. WM offers competitive pay and industry-leading benefits, including tuition reimbursement for yourself and dependents. Start your tomorrow today. Visit WM online at careers.wm.com.
In a card game, aces and eights are known throughout the West as a dead man's hand. There's a good reason for it. And this is the story of how the hand got its name.
Frontier Gentlemen. Herewith, an Englishman's account of life and death in the West. As a reporter for the London Times, he writes his colorful and unusual stories. But as a man with a gun, he lives and becomes a part of the violent years in the new territories. In just 1 minute, we'll bring you this latest report from the Frontier Gentlemen. This is James Matthews with official results on the automobile competition the whole industry watches every year, the famous Mobil Gas Economy Run. This year's run, 1,883 miles from Los Angeles to Galveston, Texas, ranging from sea level through mountain passes. And once again, Chrysler Corporation cars took the lion's share of firsts. Plymouth, Chrysler, and Imperial again this year for the second straight year, winning first place over all other cars in their class in the famous Economy Run. Imperial, by the way, was sweepstakes winner, too, getting 62.7188 ton miles per gallon. The forward look is a lot more than look. You get a better engine, brawnier brakes, torsionaire ride at no extra cost, and winning performance and economy in cars of the forward look from Chrysler Corporation. Take a drive this week in a car of the forward look. Plymouth, Dodge, DeSoto, Chrysler, or the triumphant Imperial. Drive one of America's performance winners from Chrysler Corporation. Now starring John Daner. This is the story of J.B. Kendall, Frontier Gentleman.
I left Fort Benton, Montana Territory, in a little river steamer called the Pride of the West. The journey downstream on the Missouri was a good deal faster than that which I had made coming up from St. Louis just a few months earlier. I decided to write some articles for the London Times on river travel in the American West. But the balmy weather, coupled with a feeling of complete indolence, made me put off all thought of work. Several days passed, and then we docked at Fort Pierre in Dakota Territory. I went ashore to purchase a new pair of boots, and it was in the store of an outfitter named Judd Scott that I first heard the name of Deadwood. Well, the left one might be a bit tight. Yes, right here in the heel.
Oh, she'll ease up, mister. Of course, I don't do much trade in ready-mades. If you had more time, I'd make you a real fine pair. Finest in Dakota Territory. Here, let me take it off. I'll try and work it out. So you're a newspaper correspondent, huh? Well, we've had 'em come through, but none from England. Must be pretty interesting, your line of work.
Yes, it is. Quite.
Too bad you ain't staying around these parts. Your folks back home would get a pleasure out of reading about things we got around here.
You mean in Fort Pierre?
Well, there ain't too much going on here. I guess you could write about Jack McCall, though. Try it on now. It should be better.
Jack McCall, huh?
Used to drive a stage between here and Deadwood. Got some tall yarns to spin about Indians and the like. Go ahead. Take a walk now.
Yes, I'd like to meet him.
He's back in Deadwood now. How's that? That better?
Yes, fine. Where is Deadwood?
You mean you ain't heard of it? Worst bunch of cutthroats and outlaws living in all the territories and the United States is in Deadwood. They even got Wild Bill Hickok out there. I hear tell there's folks wanting to put him up for marshal.
Hickok? Yes, I've heard of him.
Yeah, it won't take Wild Bill long to clean up, I can tell you.
Deadwood, huh?
Oh, you taking the boots?
I'm taking them. I sold the remainder of my ticket to a man booking passage for St. Louis. And the next day took the stage from Fort Pierre to Deadwood in the Black Hills of Dakota Territory. At the stagecoach station in Deadwood, I inquired after Jack McCall and was directed to Carl Mann's saloon. Even though it was Sunday, I was surprised to see that the place was practically empty. A hatchet-faced woman dressed in black was drinking alone at the bar, and I found McCall, a broken-nosed, sullen-looking man, sitting at a table playing a game of solitaire.
Yeah, it's me. Who's asking to know?
J.B. Kendall.
What's your business, J.B. Kendall?
Well, a gentleman in Fort Pierre mentioned your name. He runs the general store.
Judd Scott?
Yes, that's right.
How come you want to talk with me?
Well, as a matter of fact, I'm a newspaper correspondent, and I thought there might be a story to write about Deadwood, and your friend suggested that I get in touch with you.
What kind of story are you thinking about?
I understand that Wild Bill Hickok is in town. Do you know him?
Why don't you ask her?
Hmm?
Or at the bar. Calamity Jane. Figures she knows him better than most.
Oh, well, thank you, I will. Perhaps I can buy you a drink after?
Suit yourself. I ain't going nowhere.
Miss Jane?
You talking to me? My name's Calamity. Ain't no miss in it. Calamity Jane.
I'm sorry. I'm J.B. Kendall. The gentleman over there mentioned that you were a good friend of Wild Bill Hickok.
Who? Why, that ain't no gentleman. That's a stinking pig by the name of Jack McCall. You've been sitting with him. Don't foul up the air around me. Hit the trail, mister.
Yeah, well, I was hoping you could introduce me to Mr. Hickok.
Hey, you English?
Yes.
Thought so. Knew an English feller down in Abilene. Wouldn't quit riding herd on me. Had to shoot him.
Oh.
New in town, ain't you?
Just arrived.
You ain't friend of McCall?
Oh, no, only met him a few minutes ago.
What brings you?
I'm a writer, newspaper articles for the London Times.
Hey, I guess you heard about me and Wild Bill, huh?
Oh, yes.
Fastest man with a gun you'll ever see. I ain't too bad myself, but I ain't nothing to Wild Bill. Come on over to the table, bring the bottle, and I'll tell you about me and Wild Bill.
Calamity Jane was a strange, almost masculine-looking woman, hard and rough-voiced. She told me of her exploits as a scout with General Crook's army in the war against the Sioux, but most of the time she spoke of Hickok. About a half an hour had passed when I noticed Jack McCall get up from his table and come toward us.
Yes, sir. What Wild Bill done in Abilene, there ain't another man could have handled. Why,
Hey, mister, I thought you was going to buy me a drink.
Oh, not just now, Mr. McCall. I'm talking to the lady.
Oh, yeah, I see. It's mostly listening. Ain't nobody gets talked much around her.
McCall, you want me to put your eyeballs out with this bottle. You open that barn door of yours just once more.
Kendall, you come on down to Boot Hill Saloon when you're through. I'll tell you the truth about that female polecat there in a windy train.
One of these days, me or Wild Bill's gonna pump that coyote full of lead. Except he ain't worth wasting a ball on.
And all I know about him is that he used to drive the stage between here and Fort Pierre.
Yeah, lost that job because he couldn't hold his liquor. He used to be a buffalo hunter till the feller he worked for caught him stealing hides. He ain't no good, that one, and his pals is worse. You ever run into Tim Brady or Johnny Varnes, you watch your step, mister. Them's two of the boys, along with McCall, that Wild Bill's gonna run out of this town when he gets to be marshal.
Where is Wild Bill now?
He's up in the hills working on his claim. Him and his partner, Colorado Charlie. They ought to be back by tomorrow. He'd like to meet you, mister. Wild Bill always had a liking for you newspaper players. Well, what's your hurry? Sit down. We'll split another bottle.
Oh, thank you, but I think I'd better get settled. Wash some of this Dakota dust off.
What a dude. All right, go on up the hotel. Tell him Calamity Jane sent you, and if they don't give you the best room, I'll shoot up the place.
The recommendation was most effective. I got the best room in the hotel. 2 hours later, in spite of Calamity Jane's warning, I wandered down to the Boot Hill Saloon. I was curious about McCall and what he might have to say about Calamity and Wild Bill Hickok. I found him there, very drunk. He was talking to a heavy-set man who was chewing on an unlit cigar. McCall greeted me as an old friend.
Hey, what do you say, Kendall? You had enough of that female windbag, huh? Hey, Tim, this is the fellow I was telling you about. Kendall's his name. Kendall. Hi.
How are you? Tim Brady. I owe Mr. McCall a drink. I came down to settle my
Oh,
debt.
that's real fine of you, Kendall. Oh, Jim Kendall's come to Deadwood to write a story about Wild Bill Hickok, the new marshal of Deadwood.
You go get yourself a drink, McCall.
Sure, Tim.
Take a chair, Kendall.
Marshal of Deadwood.
I wouldn't pay no heed to what McCall says. Not when he gets too much whiskey in him.
Did he say something?
About Hickok being marshal.
Oh, well, it's not particularly news. I heard that in Fort Pierre 5 days ago.
Well, don't you believe it?
Oh?
Fellers around here, they don't want his kind. You go writing in your paper a thing like that, you're going to have to turn right around and write that it ain't true.
He's not going to get the job?
No. I tell you, he does a lot of ear greasing, like that crow-bait mare, Calamity Jane. But all them things you hear is just a lot of brag.